Hello. Okay, perfect. I can see that people is joining us now.
Les personnes sont en train de se joindre.
We might have a problem with the translation,
Peut-être nous
Mariah.
pourrons avoir des problèmes avec la traduction.
Yes. So if we, sorry, it seems we have a problem with the translation. We don't have now the channels, so we will try to figure it out very soon while we are waiting for the rest of the participants to join. Thank you so much for attending the webinar.
Voilà.
I'm gonna ask Zaide, you don't need to translate this part because we are trying to figure out how to do the channels now. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so we are waiting for the other translators to come. Just a second. Take a minute to grab your coffee, stretch a little bit. We will be starting very soon. Okay, now it seems we have the interpretation button. It's working. Perfect. Yes, perfect. Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Q&A session. This is going to be very casual, so please at any time drop your questions in the chat or even unmute yourselves and start talking with us. We are so happy to just chat with you. I'm gonna briefly share my screen and talk about the agenda today because it's gonna be very short, but first I would like to show you how to create the innovation page and how to go through our website. One second. Yes, perfect. So I will put this here. Yes. So I hope you are seeing my screen. We are still waiting for a couple of members, but I can just introduce. Perfect. So as I was saying, the agenda for this very short session, first of all, how do I submit my innovation page to the Spotlight project? Second, the questionnaire. This is a new format that we have this year, and we need you to fill an extra questionnaire to submit your innovation. And then we'll have an open stage. You can just ask any questions and chat with us. And finally, I will share a couple of links that might be interesting for you. Okay, so first, how do I submit my innovation? To get started, download the submissions guide here. We will paste these links in the chat, but you can also find it in the Spotlight page. Yeah, so this is the submissions guide. You have a detailed description on what to do in every single step. But first of all, what you have to do is to go to our formative assessment Spotlight page. and create your own HundrED account, your own profile. Here, I have already my account. I cannot create now a new one right now, but you will find it here. So now we assume that you already have created your HundrED account, and the next step is to create, share your innovation. Here I've had many innovations that I've been working on, but if I want to create a new innovation because I don't have an innovation page, I just say submit new innovation. And we will make a test here because we don't need to make it for real. Perfect. So once you just fill this quick form, what's your innovation name, the country of origin, all the basic stuff, you have your page created already. After that, you will see this video. We have here Katija, our head of community, explaining a bit more how to create your innovation page, what kind of language we use to explain, what do we do, what's the most important points that you should focus when writing the innovation page. And then you have to complete the innovation page, edit innovation page. I think those buttons, they bring you to the same place, that it's exactly this one. This is it's a small window and you have more steps to fill. So you can, for example, select the categories that will help us then understand what's the main topics. Hello, Julia, Krista, I can see that you are joining now. Okay, I'm happy that you made it to the session. We started without you because we were running out of time, but yeah, I'm just explaining how to create the innovation page. I'm just showing the participants what's the different steps they need to fill. For example, this one, you have to fill this questionnaire. Why did you create this innovation? How does your innovation work in practice? How has it been spreading? If I want to try it, what should I do? You just need to answer these questions. As you can see here, there's a word limit. So you don't need to extend a lot of text. Then you can add also quotes, key figures. We are interested in knowing the target group of your innovation, how many children users, which year it was established, what kind of organization, for profit, non-for profit, and also the age of, for example, if your innovation focus on students, what's the age of those students? Then we have contacts. It's very important to add the link to your website, and if you have Facebook account, Instagram, that's very useful also for us and for our advisory board who is going to review your innovation page. Then you add the countries. We also want to know in which countries you are operating. We have innovations that are working in more than 40 countries, so we want to know all those locations. Owners, this is also very interesting because you can add your colleagues here. For example, if you create the innovation page, but then you don't have time to keep it updated, you can make other colleagues owners of the page, and different people can be in charge of updating the information. And finally, you have the apply button. So here you find all the spotlights that we have now open. At the moment, we only have formative assessment, and you just need to click this. I think it was automatic already, but you just need to click this button and then you will apply your innovation to the spotlight. Finally, we have, as I said before, an innovation. It's a questionnaire here. You can answer just clicking here, or just by, this is to publish the page, just by coming to the main page that we created before, and you click here and you answer the questionnaire. This is very important because this is going to give us more information, detailed information on how you conduct formative assessment, how you, for example, collect data, what's the process of iteration, monitoring and evaluation processes of your innovation. So this is going to be very important and will give us information about your innovation on formative assessment. And then the main page, yeah, I don't want to save it now. The main page is just an overall description, like we want to know the main idea. What is it about? What is your innovation about? That's what we want to know here. And every time you want to edit it, you just click this button here and you edit everything that I was showing before. Okay, I know that was very fast, but I hope you got an idea. Yeah, I explained the questionnaire already, and I would like to open the stage to anybody here. If you have questions, if you would like to share anything with us, please, now it's the time. We welcome you to unmute yourselves and just ask.
Hi, Clara, this is Andy from the US. Just a quick clarification. In the very first set of screens that you showed us, there were prompts for like our tagline, our elevator pitch. Is that about the specific innovation, or is it about our organization as a whole? Do you want the elevator pitch for which one?
Yes, that's a very interesting question. So we usually, that's why we have the questionnaire and then the main page. So we usually want to know more about your organization, what's the main objective of your organization, and we want to know in which countries you're operating. So in general, but then in the questionnaire, you will be able to focus on formative assessment. We know, for example, many innovations that they have a huge organization, but then they have one program that is focused in the thematic of the spotlight. So in that case, we would recommend our innovators to focus on the program. And then in the description of the page, you can mention that, oh, this program is created by this organization. But yeah, I would focus on the innovation, sorry, on the program if it's focused on formative assessment.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Is there any other questions? If there's no questions at the moment, we have received questions from some innovators through email, so I can answer them now. They said, I submitted the questionnaire for formative assessment spotlight. Can I edit my answers after clicking the save button? Yes, you can always go back and edit your responses. Other people was asking about the deadline. It's November 15th. And after that, unfortunately, we cannot accept more innovations, but you can still update the information that you have in your innovation page. So if, for example, in December, you have some news or you have any change in your organization that you want to explain in your innovation page, you can always edit that. But we are not going to accept any innovations after November 15th. Another innovator was asking about what kind of information should I include in my innovation page, which language should I use? We want to know what you do in a very practical way. I would be very specific on what you do in practice, and I would focus on your practices. Sometimes we've seen innovations that they say, oh, this is very important. Formative assessment is very important, but they don't really focus on what they do in practice. And then it becomes very difficult for us to understand what they do. And then, we would like to see innovations that focus on the practice and that they provide evidence of their impact. And they say, we have this process of evaluation, for example, and this is how we improve our practice. And that's how we know that you've been doing a quality implementation of your program. And then in the questionnaire, as I said before, I would use a specific language to explain how I conduct formative assessment, giving details about the kind of activities that the students have to do, and how do I conduct monitoring and evaluation processes of my own project in order to improve my innovation. But yeah, I would be very practical and very specific on what you are doing. What else? Please interrupt me if there's any question at any point, please. I would love to hear from our innovators and community. We also had a question related to what does it mean to be shortlisted? So I have here a graphic to explain how does it work. So usually for every spotlight, we receive more than 100 submissions, sometimes even more than 400 submissions, depending on the spotlight. And then from those submissions, we pre-select, we call it shortlisted. It's a pre-selection of around 30 innovations. And that's something that HundrED does in collaboration with our partners, in this case, with the Jacob Foundation. And then From that shortlist, we send those shortlisted innovations to our advisory board. The advisory board is a group of experts that have teachers, policymakers, educational leaders, different stakeholders in education that help us understand how those shortlisted innovations would work in their contexts. So we use these experts, they give us all their expertise to understand these innovations better. And we have a tool to make reviews, and they evaluate every shortlisted innovation, giving scores for impact and scalability. And they also have qualitative comments to evaluate those innovations. And then the final step is that the HundrED research team and our partners go through that evaluation that the advisory board does, and we select 10 to 15 innovations. So from the submissions of more than 100 submissions to the selection, there's all this process of selection. And yeah, we end up taking 10 to 15 innovations. If there's any question here as well, feel free to jump in. And with this question, that person also asked us how, or what can I expect? When will I hear back from HundrED about the selection process? So unfortunately, due to the number of submissions, we will only notify the shortlisted innovations and the selected innovations. So those the ones in the bottom part of the triangle. And this time we will publish the shortlisted innovations, so you will be able to see if you are in that list. And yeah, that's how we will announce the shortlisted and selected innovations. And finally, if someone from my team can put the link in the chat, I would appreciate. I would encourage you to read more about the HundrED selection process. Just what I explained right now, it's written in detail in this article, and you can see how this selection process works. And I think that will help you write, for example, the submission and focus on those things that we want to focus in the evaluation process. And that's all. Here is our email. Any question you have, we will be very happy to answer, and we can be in touch on email as well. And that's all from our side. Please let us know if you have any questions.
Just what last question, a general timeline for when you would do the reaching out to the ones selected for semifinalists, or
yes,
yeah.
I know I was missing something, and it was the timeline. Thank you. Yeah, so we closed the submissions in November 15th, and the advisory board is going to make the evaluation in January. So now I don't know the exact date, but in December, we will have the shortlisted innovations. Then in January, we will have this evaluation process, and then it would take maybe a month or a couple of months to have the final selection. So by February, March, but probably here my project manager is thinking, Clara, you are messing the dates, but approximately, yeah. Yes. What else? I know Crystal came a little bit late, so I don't know if you were able to listen to the first explanation, but do you think there's something missing? There's something we should add here at this point?
No, I think it's great, unless anyone has some sort of more specific questions. I've also put here in the chat our email, so if you have any more specific questions as you're going through the process, feel free to reach out to research@HundrED.org, and we will answer your questions.
Yes, exactly. We are so happy to help anybody with the creation of the innovation page and any other questions you have or assistance that you might need. This is also being recorded as well, so we will be able to publish these in case somebody's missing the session, and you can always go back to all those documents that we shared with you and check what's the best way to submit your innovation. I'm not sure if we could paste the submission guide. Yeah, all is here. Perfect. Then I think if there's nothing else, we can close it. Yep.
Thank you, Clara.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Andy. It was wonderful to